of giving up? Are you wondering if building an Etsy store can really change your life? Do you need someone to throw you a lifesaver or talk you off the ledge? Then this is the video for you. It could be just the thing you need to hear today. So there is this phenomenon that happens when someone is drowning. When you swim in to save them, they will instinctually place their hands on your shoulders or head, pushing you under to raise themselves up to get a breath of fresh air. And inevitably what will happen is the rescuer can drown, and now the person that was supposed to be getting saved is drowning still. I learned this in college because I took lifeguarding lessons so that I could be a swim instructor while I was in school to become a teacher. And it was this concept that inspired this video today. Simply Shauna here, and I have been lucky enough to be so lifted by others and inspired by others. I'm gonna share a couple of stories with you today that I hope will help you jump whatever hurdle you're experiencing and to just really give you the motivation to push forward. These are the stories I attribute my success to, because without these stories of success, I would not have been filled with enough hope and with enough possibility to push forward long enough to see my Etsy shop become successful. I tell you about the phenomenon of the drowning victim because it can be really hard to see this kind of rear its head in other areas of our life where there is more choice than a truly drowning victim in water has. In the Etsy world, that can come in the form of people copycatting your items, and that can really feel like someone trying to push you under to raise themselves up. In the YouTube world, that can come in the form of hearing maybe someone misrepresent something another YouTuber said or put another YouTuber down, trying to raise themselves up. I bet you can think of a lot of other scenarios in your life where something can feel this way. And I think it's really important that we break that cycle. So that's part of the purpose of this video also, is to lift others up and encourage anyone that hears this video to go and lift someone else up as well. First up is Cassie Johnson. And if you don't follow her channel, currently I do have a link to her channel down below. Everyone I speak about will have links in my description below. Cassie Johnson is easily the person that influenced me the most through my growth. I first learned about her in an interview that she did. I must have watched that interview no less than 20 times. She was about 6 months ahead of me in her shop, and she was doing so well, and I was not at that point. But hearing her story during that interview, I thought, well, if she could do it, I can do it too. I was able to identify with her so easily because she seemed so girl next door, and she overcame things and became successful. So she shared how she got pregnant at 16. She was on her own by 19. She was having a string of minimum wage jobs, trying to be the best mom she could be, and provide for herself and her son. And she wound up landing a job with a furniture store where she was able to work her way up that kind of corporate ladder, but hit a ceiling with no college degree. Wound up getting laid off during COVID times and found Etsy. And she wound up opening her Etsy shop, getting shut down, made listings even though she had been suspended and didn't know how to get her shop back. That just happens sometimes when you open your shop. Probably a good 50% of people get suspended. You have to reach out. Then they open your shop back, hopefully within like 2 weeks, and you're good to go. You just get caught in this algorithm. I was so impressed that she kept listing during that time, and that just really showed me like her stick-with-itness and her I'm not giving up and I'm not taking no for an answer attitude. And I was just so inspired by that. Months later, she did another interview where her success had even boomed further. I watched that interview as well over and over and over again. We only remember about 10% of what we hear, so each time I heard the interview, it was something different. Something different spoke to me and inspired me and made me keep listing so that I could get my shop launched like she had. After that interview, she started her own YouTube channel, and I was well into my Etsy shop by then and doing pretty good. Nowhere near where I'm at right now, but I was on my way. And I started listening to her YouTube channel and just really enjoyed it. And then she offered a mentorship group. so glad that I joined that mentorship group. Got to forge a personal relationship with her. She is so willing to help and give advice and wants the best thing for others and truly desires to lift others up. She believes that by lifting others up, you are lifted up with them. That is how you rise, by lifting others up. I'm currently now going through her course. I think it's spectacular. It's laid out so organized with such good information in it. If that is something that you're looking for, I do have a link to that down below. Stories like this, that is what really has kept me motivated, surrounding myself and putting that into my head and re-listening to stories like this, because that is what made me know that, hey, this is attainable. If this person could do it, you can also be successful in Etsy. You can also quit your job. You can also start building wealth for yourself. Before we get to the next story of inspiration that you need to hear, I want to share this with you. Did you know that 86% of Etsy sellers are female? So I thought this was very interesting. One of the reasons I thought this was so interesting and very much inspirational for myself, and don't let me lose any of my guys out there. Boys, stay with me. But we are going to celebrate women here for a second. I remember when I was teaching years ago, my brother came over. It was a Saturday evening. I was sitting on the couch grading papers. And my brother wanted to go do something fun. And I was like, oh, I can't. I have to grade papers. And he said, you know what, Shauna? I don't know why you think anything's going to change. He said, here you are. You're always talking about how your pay is not good. It's actually decreasing and they're paying you less. Here you are for free. You're not being paid to do this, bringing work home on the weekends and working during the weekend. Why are they going to buy the cow when you're giving the milk away for free? There's no reason for them to pay us better if we're going to work for free. That got us going in a conversation about female-dominated careers versus male-dominated careers and the pay gap between them. And I just remember feeling kind of overwhelmed, thinking, oh man, there would have to be like a paradigm shift in the way everyone together thought in order for there to be any change in this. And then fast forward to years later when I started my Etsy shop, and then I'm finding out that so many women are on Etsy with shops, and then on YouTube, all of these powerful females sharing their story about how they became six-figure sellers. This just filled me with extra pride and I drew extra inspiration from these females. Not to say that I don't have gentlemen YouTubers that I adore and love to listen to and have found a lot of inspiration from. But we are going to be focusing on boss babes here in this video. So the next boss babe we're going to talk about is Hannah Gardner. What left me so inspired by Hannah Gardner and what really caught my attention was the fact that she was so young and had been able to break into Etsy and be successful. And I was understanding by the time I found Hannah just how much work it took and how many people that were older than her were giving up and just really not playing with the strategies long enough to get themselves anywhere. So I felt in awe of her. I'm like, no, if this young girl can do this, then I'm sticking with this. She talks about in her first month getting 150 listings up, which I thought took dedication. She did not know a whole lot about Etsy or about selling, and she just really jumped in with both feet and just hit the ground running and was okay with making mistakes while she learns. She shares in one of her videos, it's the one I'll link down below, about how, and this is really what inspired me by her, and I drew strength from this part of her story. One of her listings got deactivated, and she shares about that, and she shares about how she learned at that time about trademarks and about there being phrases that you cannot use. A few months down the road, she hires someone, which I think is so cool that she started scaling out and figuring out how to hire people, which isn't the easiest thing to do because I haven't figured that out still. And she hired someone to start helping her list. And so they were coming up with her key terms and she was showing them how to do that research. But she had not yet shared with them and taught them how to make sure they weren't using illegal terms or trademark terms. A listing got deactivated. She was pretty sure it was because of a certain phrase, if I remember the story correctly. But then Etsy reached out and said, oh, sorry, this got caught in the algorithm. Basically, it's okay. Here's the listing back. So then another listing got deactivated. Kind of in the back of her head, she knew it might be this phrase, but since Etsy had said in their email it was their mistake, when the next listing got deactivated, she thought, well, they made another mistake, so I'll reactivate it. And so at that time I learned never, ever, ever do that. Never, ever reactivate a listing that Etsy has deactivated. Also, it was recently brought to my attention that it also says in the email that they send you not to delete it. So don't delete it, nor definitely don't reactivate it. When she reactivated it, they shut her shop down, and she was already like a 6-figure seller at that time. She was killing it at that time. So to lose her shop at that time, that would have been devastating. But, and I want you to remember this, she has the right attitude to be successful, because when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and she got going. I am sure she cried. I am sure she was upset, but she did not lay on the couch and boohoo for the next 3 months and just decide to go get a regular job and give up on her entrepreneurial endeavors. She started with Shopify, which to me, I'm not in Shopify. I don't know how to do it. And there's a whole nother layer of that, because you have to funnel your own traffic. So it's not like lickety split, I'm going to figure out how to do this. It's a whole nother learning curve that goes with that. It's going to be a ton of work. That didn't stop her. She got a fully successful Shopify store going while still trying to get her Etsy shop back. I don't remember how long. I think she shares how long it took her to get it back. It was months. It was a long time, I want to say. And in that time, she looks back on that and she's thankful for it, because she got her Shopify store going, and now she has more than one stream of income coming through. I was so incredibly inspired by that part of her story. Next boss babe that put fuel in my engine and helped me get through that first year is Heather Studio. And her story actually really helped my best friend Shay as well. It really spoke to her. Heather shares that she got her first shop going. It was during COVID times and things didn't go well. She got some bad reviews because it was a little scary to get started in that time, in the sense that there were a lot of delays. And so if you were just getting started, you would have been scared that, oh no, my stuff isn't getting to places on time, and then customers are upset. So she wound up shutting that store down because she felt like she couldn't recover from some of those bad reviews, and she just wanted to start a new one. It's a lot of work to start a new shop. And so she started that new shop and she saw that one through. Within the first year, after the first year, she was able to quit her nursing job and go full-time with Etsy. So I was very inspired by that. And that was before I had been able to quit my teaching job. But it really showed me that here, a normal person, another normal person, not someone from a business background that was, already knew all these business strategies, like a normal person with a normal job was able to find success as an Etsy seller and quit their job and go full-time with, all of the benefits that go with that, with making your own schedule and being able to scale up to huge profits. She also shares on her channel how she struggles with anxiety and how she overcomes those kinds of struggles, and look where she's at now. She's just absolutely killing it on YouTube and killing it with her Etsy shop. She's in the process of doing a series now where she's starting a new Etsy shop. So that's a really great series, especially as a beginner, to watch someone doing it again. She's doing it again and making it happen. I was lucky enough during Cassie's mentorship group, she invited Heather into one of the sessions, and that was awesome. So I got to meet Heather, so sincere, so genuine, so kind, and just expressed such a desire to help others and to see others be successful. The next two boss babes on my list are Passive Income Angel and Jenny from the shop. I found both of these ladies in interviews as well, and I was captivated by them because they were teachers. And so of course, me driving to school every day to my teaching job, hearing about teachers that were able to do something different and something that gave them so much freedom in their schedule and so much hope and possibility in terms of pay was really inspiring for me. So Passive Income Angel shares in her interview about how in her first year she was able to really become a very successful seller, and by the end of that year was making a lot of extra money for her family. I was lucky enough in the mentorship that Cassiy also invited her in, and I was able to chat with her a little bit and really enjoyed that personal piece of being able to hear about her. And also she's now on YouTube, which I'll have that link down below. At the time, I think it was TikTok that she was on, and I had not started my YouTube channel yet. So I had also a chance to kind of talk to her about taking that next step of going online and starting to teach and how to get that started. Again, so sincere, so genuine, such a heart to help. And then Jenny from the shop, also a teacher, and in her interview that I originally had watched, she had just quit her job and moved to Greece, which I was so inspired by that. Also, I was inspired by the fact that Etsy wasn't the first thing she tried, and she didn't give up, which I find that very inspiring. When people have a business that they started, she tried to write a children's book. It didn't go anywhere, and then she started the t-shirt thing. She was actually planning on making the t-shirts herself at home, and then found a video about how to do print on demand and went that route. So very inspirational. And last but not least, I just want to highlight Insights by Jess. I'll have her linked down below also. I'm not at liberty to share her story because I don't believe she has a video that shares her story. Maybe she'll do one eventually, but I found her story very inspirational because she overcame a lot and kept going and became successful and had experienced much success with selling online. She's another one that I was lucky enough to meet because of the connections in our mentorship group, thanks to one of the girls in the mentorship group reaching out to her on YouTube and asking her to join. So thanks to Mary on that one. I do hope you're feeling inspired by these stories. If you want to follow any of these ladies that I mentioned, I do have them all linked down below. I also have Cassie's course linked down below if that would be something you're interested in. I'm filming this video on a Thursday, and Thursday nights are what we call Etsy nights here at my house with my friends. They come over for dinner, we work on our Etsy shops, and we're actually doing Cassie's course together. So I'll be doing the next part of it tonight with them. There are so many powerful YouTubers, both men and women, that I could have made this video very, very long talking about all of the people that are providing such phenomenal information for us online. Guys, on this channel, I'm not going to be throwing you any lifelines. I'm not going to be throwing you any lifesavers. I am going to be teaching you how to swim. So if you want that next swimming lesson, join me here in this video where I show you how I collect my SEO, those titles and those phrases that help get my listings found. But of course, not until after that tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away.